What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into this episode of English Turks, where I review your favorite Turkish series with and without English subtitles. And it's Saturday, so you know it's time for our weekly update. So this week, there's been a lot going on in the Dizi world. A lot of shows have actually been canceled, and we had some shows come back. So we're going to get all into that. And we're going to start off with the very first show, which is Gunde Kotu Gunde. That thing is so hard to pronounce, but I think it means like, I think it's like good something, bad something, or whatever. But their English translation for it, they're saying it's happily ever after. So we're just going to go with that. The show is so good, guys. I love it. But for some reason, they're saying it might be canceled. I mean, their rating system must be harsh because a lot of shows were threatened. At least that's what I've been reading online, that a lot of shows are being threatened to be canceled. And this is not one that should be canceled. It's only had 3 episodes. And so Sarp is basically developing more and more feelings for Layla again. He's remembering his feelings for her. But at the same time, it puts Melissa in a predicament. So we're all at this point where we know that eventually he's supposed to end up with Layla, but it still doesn't feel right because what did Melissa ever do to anybody? You know, it's not like she has some ulterior motive or anything. So it was a good show. I did do my podcast on it, and it actually got a lot of listens this week. That's crazy. So if you want to know more, I'm going to put the link for the podcast down below. But crazy show. I hope it doesn't get canceled. And I basically love everybody in this show. So hopefully we're good. Let's go to Sefirin Kizi. Now, Sefirin Kizi was a little bit too hot for me this week. It was just a little bit too hot, okay? Sefirin Kizi, which is Ambassador's daughter, we had Sanjar who threatened Nade and told her that if she said that she was leaving, he was gonna kiss her. So we kept hitting those little points here and there, and also Nade really finally showed how much, like, her jealousy, because she like thought that something happened with Meneske and Sanjar and nothing happened, but she went bursting into the room and it was clear there was jealousy written all over her face, and then she almost threatened to leave and he almost kissed her. But I just saw the fragment like right afterwards, and he does end up kissing her. I hate when they give those parts away. I wish we could just be surprised, but they always show the kisses. I don't know why. Maybe to entice us to watch it, just as, you know, we're gonna want to watch it to see what led up to that. But she does end up saying that she's leaving, and he does end up kissing her. So we have that to look forward to in the next fragment. I'm also going to be posting another YouTube video specifically about them and another show, and we'll talk about that in the next one. So keep a lookout for that video because I'm going to post that either today along with this one or tomorrow. All right, let's keep moving. We have Menajerimi Ara. Man, can I just say, I didn't say this in the podcast, but I want to say this right here, right now. Can I just say that when Dizi kissed Barish on the cheek, because, you know, he asked her to stay and she said no, and when she kissed him on the cheek, did you guys see how he leaned into that kiss? He leaned into that kiss, and I was like, man, you're pulling on my heartstrings here. So he's obviously truly wants, you know, something to happen between them, but he feels like she thinks that he's too, you know, too famous, too crazy, not intellectual enough, and she's not sure if he's really into her. And it was crazy because then when he woke up the next day and he's talking to his brother, he's like, I asked Dizi to stay and she said no, and da-da-da-da. And so it was good to see that he really is interested in her. We're not guessing anymore. But we still have to do with Beren, because now Beren has declared herself to him and basically is gonna start doing things to, you know, try to mess up them being together because she wants to be with him. And so she's going to confuse Dizi's thoughts. I did do a podcast on it. Go listen to the podcast. Oh, and also I forgot to say that for Sefirin Kizi, I did do a blog post for them. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out. Also, I'll leave the link in the section below. And also, Menajerimi Ara, love it. I need that show to stick. That show needs to stay. But you know, the good thing about Menajerimi Ara is that it's derived from that French series. So they already have a set number of episodes. They've already budgeted to do all the episodes, I feel like, because it was such a huge hit in France. So I'm sure it'll be a huge hit here. I love it. Tell me if you guys love it. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's go to the next Dizi, which is Masumlar Apartmani. Guys, this show for me is like top tier. This show is so deep, so crazy, that every time I finish watching it, I feel like, man, could you have given us just a few more minutes? Just let us see a few more minutes. There is an actor in this show, Ugar, the actor that plays Ugar, Alper. He played in this other series that I watched. It was like, I think it was the very second Turkish Dizi that I've ever watched. I watched Magnificent Century first, and then the series that he started was the second one, and I absolutely love this series. It's on Netflix. If you want to watch it, you have to. This show is so good. And it's so good that his co-star's name was Aisha. Well, not her real name, but her character's name was Aisha. And I ended up having my sister name my niece's middle name Aisha. Just how much I love the show, guys. So my niece has a Turkish name just because of that show. So every time I look at him in this show, I'm like, he's so good, because he's making me not like him in this show, whereas I liked him in the other show. One thing that I did point out in the podcast about his character compared with Han, which is like the main person. I think that's the name. I think it's Han. Yeah, there we go, Han. What I didn't like about Han and Ugar is that they're both kind of like doing the same thing to NJ, and yet, you know, it's wrong that Ugar is doing it, but it's okay that Han is doing it, because Han is a bit obsessive. It's just a bit obsessive. Let me know what you guys think about it. Listen to the podcast. I don't want to go too deep into it, but this show is like top tier for me. It's one that I'm like always like looking forward to. I have to be mentally prepared to watch that show. Let's go to our next show, which is Sen Çal Kapimi. Now, Sen Çal Kapimi did so great last week. It was like stupendously great, because, you know, we finally got that clash together. They finally made it together. And then this week, for some reason, I heard that it might be canceled. Why? Anyway, I don't believe it. A lot of people have been posting about it. I truly don't believe it. I mean, this week's episode wasn't as lovey-dovey crazy as the last week's episode, but so much things were finally like realized in this episode. We found out it was Ida's family that died at the hands of a decision that was made by Serkan's dad. And the only thing I didn't like was that they thought that the reason why she's with Serkan was so that she could get revenge. And I thought that was kind of weird. I mean, she was a child then. How would she know? So anyway, yeah, so that one, I thought the show was great this week. I don't know why there's a threat to cancel, but I thought it was good. I do agree with everyone, which is going to be the next Dizi that I talk about, is that they put Dogdugun Ev Kaderindir on the same night, which I don't know why. If we have a hitter show, why didn't they put it on Thursday night? Because right now, Thursday night had Yeni Hayat, and Yeni Hayat is being canceled, guys. I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it. You know why? It's because of the story plot. And sometimes a story plot like that just doesn't sit well with people. And I know that Turkey is the country of Turkey is really like pushed forward, and they're really like, you know, up to date and stuff like that, but they still have a strong cultural resonance around there, and they still have a lot of retrospect for their values. And to have a married man constantly being pushed into this scenario where he just might cheat with this married woman, that doesn't sit well with people. It didn't sit well with me. This is why I didn't continue watching it. So I'm sure if Turkey is not watching it, if the ratings are low, it's because it doesn't sit well with people. You have majority of people watching Turkish Dizis are married women or single women. And so a married woman is not going to want to watch that because she wouldn't want her husband going through that, and it's not going to sit well with her. And single women would not want to watch that because then they have this general extended fear that, hey, what if I get married and this happens to me? So I think that's why. And guys, last week I said I would try to watch the Dizi, but I ended up not watching it. And when I found out that it was being canceled, I was like, well, it's a good thing I dropped it. So let's go back to Dogdugun Ev Kaderindir. The show aired this week. We had episode 13. It was very deep. We finally got introduced to who she's talking to, because the whole first season, all we saw was her constantly talking to someone. We didn't know who she was talking to. Now we know that she's talking to her therapist, and it just so happens that her therapist actually has her own Dizi show that you could watch. And I almost started watching it. Literally, I went probably 10 or 15 minutes into the first episode, but then I stopped because I didn't realize that she was going to be in Dogdugun, this therapist. But when I started to watch it, I realized this is going to be one of those deep shows. And I already have Masumlar, and I already have Dogdugun with that deep aspect to it. So I was like, I don't want to add another one. And plus, it's I'm watching 7 Dizis. So I was like, I'm not going to add to it. The reason why I wanted to start watching it was because people were commenting that a lot of shows are being canceled because of how good that therapist show is. And I feel like maybe in the future, after maybe another show gets canceled, maybe I'll add it to my repertoire. But then I was so surprised to see the same therapist ended up being the therapist in Dogdugun Ev Kaderindir. And so, she needed a therapist. Let's face it. Zeynep needs a therapist, and it was cool to see that this was going to be her therapist. She's obviously going to have a huge impact on the show moving forward. And right now, we left that episode based on Benal running away and getting captured by her ex-husband, and Zeynep is now going to have to deal with the backlash because she's the reason why Benal ran away. But I feel like, you can only put a woman through so much, and Zeynep needs to have the right to yell. She needs to, because it was just too much. And so it looks like the baby might pass away, and it looks like it's going to be hard for them to be together if the baby does pass away. So we'll see, because how is Zeynep going to live with that? She always wants to be kind to everyone. How she's going to live with that pressure over her thinking that she's the cause of this baby's passing? We'll see what happens in the next Dizi. It'll be good. Keep tuned. And also, if you haven't listened to the podcast, I'm linking it in the description so that you can listen to it. The next one is Beyannes. Now, I didn't watch the final episode, but it got canceled, guys. I cannot believe it. Actually, I can believe it, because it seems like every time I stop watching a show, it gets canceled the very next episode. Yeni Hayat, same thing. I stopped watching it, it was canceled. And now Beyannes, I stopped watching it, it was canceled. I wonder whatever happened to that person on Facebook that said that the show was being extended for another season, because obviously it wasn't. And a lot of fans online were upset because they're saying that John is getting a lot of hate or whatever. I don't know why. And my whole thing was, I thought that the script was not good. I didn't think the script was good. And I felt like John could do better. And I still think he can do better. And so I heard that he is discussing a script, a movie script or something like that he might star in. And so, we'll see. I just want him to do bigger and better things. I feel like he needs a more challenging role, or something because that role was blah. He needs something that's more challenging. I feel like he could do so much better than Beyannes. And I know we all love seeing him on the screen, but we should also, strive to have him do better. I will say that, let me see who the actor is. I didn't pull up Beyannes on my computer because I didn't watch it, so I didn't have much to say about it. But I want to say an actor's name real quick. because I'm going to show you guys this photo, which I've been sharing online. Serkay, who plays Ozan in the series. So he posted on Instagram this photo, and guys, if you didn't know, I'm not only a fan of the Turkish Dizi world, but I'm a fan of Vikings world, and I'm a fan of Peaky Blinders, and I love this photo. This photo is it for me, man. Like, if we can get like a Turkish gangster on Peaky Blinders next season that airs, I would be so ecstatic. And it can be Serkay all day, because I mean, he's got the tats, he's got the look, and look at this, guys. This is nothing but hot and sexy right here. I am all for it. This was my highlight of the week. This is it. This is it. And also my hot sticker of the week goes to Sefirin Kizi, because it's a little hotness. Sancar and Nare, y'all got it going on this week. But also, oh man, what about Barish and Dijale? They should get that hot sticker too. That was too hot. Anyway, let's go to the last one, which is Emanet. Emanet, I can't believe I was saying the name wrong this whole time. I was saying Emnat, but it's Emanet. That's the name of the show. We finally broke this barrier here in Emanet, where we fully have this understanding that he actually likes her. So Yaman actually likes Seher. He actually bought her that beautiful dress, which we saw in yesterday's episode. It had big poofy sleeves, and people were complaining about that. But the reason for the big poofy sleeves was because of, the little boy Yusuf wanted her to be a princess. So that's why she had the big poofy sleeves. But she was looking gorgeous. Let me tell you something. Sila, which is the person who plays Seher, she's a gorgeous girl, and she has some gorgeous eyes, really gorgeous eyes. So I love that about that episode. I'm going to post the blog post for that one today, this afternoon. I am going to watch the rest of Bayalnis. I'll watch the last episode just to close it out on a good... I'm not going to watch the last episode of Yeni Hayat, but I did watch a clip here or there. I did. But it's not worth it for me to catch up to get to the final episode now. But I will watch the final episode of Bayalnis, and I'm going to give them that, because I still love Levent, and I'm going to miss him no matter what. I'm going to miss Levent. But that was our Dizzies of the week, guys. It was a lot of Dizzies happening in the week. Now, I did say in last week's update that I was going to make a special announcement, but it's not ready yet, so I'm not going to say anything. So just stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to put up another blog post, but definitely tune in to our podcast, because that's where I post all the reviews of every single episode that ever airs. I post the reviews on there. And I will say, for some reason, I'm telling you, Masumlar Apartmani is a super, that show on the podcast, my review of that show has been I've never gotten so many listens on a podcast without that show, because that show, there's so many people listen to it. And I thought it would peak. It hasn't peaked yet. People are still clicking to listen to the review for that show. I think that one and Sefirin Kizi, so many people listened to Sefirin Kizi this week. Sen Çal Kapimi, it went up. And I just posted Dogdugun yesterday, so that one I'm sure is going to get a lot of listens. I'm also going to post the Dogdugun on YouTube, because a lot of you follow me here and you watch it right here. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I love chatting with you guys. I love chatting with you guys in the groups. I love looking at what you guys are writing about, the funny posts and different things that come up. I love it. And I hope to see you guys in our next weekly update. Bye.